He was such a wonderful example of that. And so that is the message, that we, right in our neighborhood, we grew a Bahamian hero that every child, including my granddaughter, has to know about as a part of her heritage.
So there you have it, the Andre Rogers story. I know that he would have been uncomfortable watching this documentary, but I also know that he would have been very proud that it's being dedicated to children everywhere.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the Prime Minister's charge to the container port yields permanent positions for a number of casual workers. We'll tell you more. Plus, hear why officials from the Disaster Reconstruction Authority are abandoning domes as a temporary housing option. And a new conversation emerging. Should turtles be consumed? We have reactions from an environmentalist and residents. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news, the Grand Bahama Port Authority firing back tonight following comments from the nation's leader, Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis. Prime Minister Davis standing on his commitment in ensuring that the island of Grand Bahama continues to grow while holding the GBPA accountable. Tonight, our Aja Kwan joins us live in studio with the latest. Aja, what is the Grand Bahama Port Authority saying?
Well, Ramiko, just a few days ago, Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, spoke on the government taking on the role of the Grand Bahama Port Authority. His comments noting that the potential and promise of Freeport has always been lagging, and he believes for that promise to be fulfilled, there has to be a paradigm shift in the ownership structure.
It is clear to me that the interests of the owners do not truly align with the interests of the people of Grand Bahama and then residents of Freeport in particular. And until those align, we will have no growth. The growth that's occurring in the Freeport area is at the instance of the government. So we, in fact, have taken over the role of the Port Authority.
Now, the Grand Bahama Port Authority is responding to those comments through a statement that reads in part, "The Grand Bahama Port Authority remains open and committed to a healthy relationship with the government of the Bahamas in the best interest of the island of Grand Bahama. GBPA is not in competition with the government and understands that we both have clearly defined legislative and regulatory responsibilities relating to the development and needs of Grand Bahama. The government of the Bahamas is not subsidizing the GBPA in fulfilling its industrial development, various regulatory and environmental oversights, and city maintenance mandate is funded exclusively by its approximately 3,000 licensees. When adverse events such as hurricanes and the recent COVID-19 pandemic cause a deficit, the shareholders of GBPA have always funded the deficit." The statement continues that the government of the Bahamas is not subsidizing the GBPA when providing health care, education, aviation, and assistance with tourism in Grand Bahama, as it is likewise obligated to do so for every other island in our country. While the GBPA has built schools, donated land for government projects, assisted with the hospital, and constructed the island's airport, these were never a responsibility of the Grand Bahama Port Authority under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, but an act of a strategic partner. Grand Bahama Port Authority believes that it would be counterproductive to encourage a back and forth in the media as they remain focused on the task at hand. The GBPA say they are playing a key role in working with investors to bring those projects to fruition. Outlining some examples that are already in the public domain include the new cruise port by Carnival Cruises, the Six Senses Resort development by Weller, and the expansion of the Grand Bahama Shipyard, to name a few. And Ramiko, while PM Davis did say the government has seen an incremental growth this year as a result of the work they have been doing, GBPA reiterates its desire to work with the government of the Bahamas in the spirit of cooperation to resolve any issues and work together to create a bright future for Grand Bahama. Live in studio, reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Aja Quant, back to you at the desk.
Thanks so much, Aja. Well, meantime, the Prime Minister following through with his charge to the Freeport Container Ports management earlier this year to transition more casual workers into permanent roles. The Prime Minister today announcing that many of the employees are now permanent. Our Aja Quant has more in this report.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis's proactive push to ensuring that casual workers here at the Freeport Container Port received permanent status has now yielded significant positive results. This according to the nation's leader, who says the general manager has now confirmed that over 50% of casual workers are now permanent employees.
I am rather pleased with the Hudson Whampoa, the container port in particular.
Disclosing on the initial conversation back in January, Prime Minister Davis says he sat with the general manager, where at the time they had about 75 casual workers. According to the nation's leader, Senator Kirkland Russell advised to him that this was one of the reasons Grand Bahama has seen no growth.
Where an employee is unable to go to a bank, for example, to borrow funds to build a home, it stunts that employee's growth. And the economy grows with its citizens and its people. And if employees cannot grow, the community will not grow.
PM Davis now revealing that the proportion of casual workers had decreased substantially, according to FCP's general manager.
He did not quite understand the concept of what I was saying to him, because I think he'd only been appointed a year or so. And he just met what was going on, and he thought that was the order of the day. Well, I indicated to him that that was not an order that I embrace. And he came back to about, I think it was just about the first week of May, to indicate that he has reversed that situation where they had 75% casual workers, where they were now up to 65% permanent workers.
Back in January, more than a dozen employees were laid off, and just 24 hours later, the Prime Minister stepped in, having the decision reversed, and the FCP promising to reduce the number of casual workers. PM Davis also sending a resounding call to businesses across Grand Bahama to prioritize transitioning casual workers into permanent roles.
It's not good corporate citizenry to employ hundreds of persons and call them casual workers and treat them as casual workers, because you're not looking out for the common good. You're looking out for the bottom line.
Prime Minister Davis also underscoring the importance of collective efforts to create a more equitable labor environment to enhance the quality of workers' life and paves the way for long-term economic growth. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Aja Quant.
In other news, the residents in Sweetings Key and Grand Key have been experiencing water scarcity for a while. But today, Water and Sewage Area Manager for Abaco Operations shares how these issues have been addressed. Jolanda Thompson-Everest reports.
Water deficiency is no longer a problem for Sweetings Key and Grand Key. The water plants on the two islands have been experiencing mechanical issues, which sometimes cause a water shortage. Water and Sewage Area Manager Tony Scriven announcing that they are improving their storage and providing more water accessibility.
The residents sometimes are upset with us because we turn the water off at night, or we turn the water off on non-peak hours when you don't expect residents to be using the water. We typically use that time in situations to store water so we could have water in the event that we have a mechanical issue that stops our production for some reason. We're still able to distribute water even though we can't make it. So Sweetings Key and Grand Key had that issue for a while because we had mechanical issues, and because they're in remote areas and it takes some time to get to those areas to make a repair, it's best for us to keep proper water storage so we could able to serve our customers in those times.
While water is to be produced and then stored, Scriven explaining that in the event of a disaster or power loss, enough water will now be stored and ready for use during an emergency or crisis.
In Grand Key, we've just installed and started to fill our 150,000 gallon storage tank. Grand Key uses about 20,000 gallons per day, so that's roughly like 7 days of storage in the event that we don't have power or be unable to use our reverse osmosis plant. So I think that was a very good resilient act that we performed in Grand Key. And same thing with Sweetens Key storage. Sweetens Key makes about 7,000 and uses about 7,000 a day, so we've upped their storage to 20,000 gallons.
The area manager exclaiming that water and sewage is working tirelessly on upgrading their operations and wants residents on the Family Islands to know that they have not been forgotten.
I think it's showing them that we do have an interest in the community, and we want to deliver a better service to the community.
Work is currently ongoing on both of these islands, and Scriven hopes that the residents will be pleased with the new changes. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Jolanda Thompson Everest.
Well, meanwhile, over in Abaco, the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, under the leadership of the Executive Chairman Alex Storr, has announced its withdrawal of support for the utilization of domes as temporary housing solutions. The former administration spent more than $6 million on 200 domes following Hurricane Dorian in 2019. However, there were setbacks as some domes turned out to be incomplete and posed safety concerns, prompting demolition.
Found that there were issues with the insulation. A lot of them had mold and other problems, as well as when we went to the warehouses in Grand Bahama and where they were stored in Abaco, we realized that there were no instructions for the insulation as well as missing parts. So we were unable to fully assemble a dome, and so that caused us to evaluate their use and purpose, and we decided that it's best not to use them for human habitation.
The Disaster Reconstruction Authority's Executive Chairman Alex Storr declaring that the authority no longer endorses the utilization of domes as temporary residences due to their unsuitability for human occupation. Despite the considerable investment by the former administration, a portion of the domes remained unconstructed, with some even being raised due to safety concerns. Storr further elaborated that subsequent audits unveiled missing components from the dome inventory, prompting the authority to evaluate dome requests on a case-by-case basis.
It was determined, I think, there's $1,000 that we would sell each dome for, but we don't want them used for human habitation, like I said, but there are purposes like, for instance, persons that asked to use them for agriculture and farming purposes, such as chicken coops and other storage, and so we're inclined to approve things like that.
Despite ongoing recovery efforts, the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian continues to reveal challenges as valuable resources, including vehicles, construction materials, and donated supplies, remain unaccounted for. The executive chairman disclosed that while some items have been recovered, numerous essentials are still missing.
I don't really want to delve too deeply into that because, like I said, those matters are under police investigation. I will say this: there are persons out there that know that they still have donated supplies, equipment, etc., that belong to the DRA and by great extent the people of Bahamas. I ask that you take this time, this opportunity to contact me, contact the DRA office either at Abaco, Nassau, Grand Bahama, and arrange to have those items returned, because as police conduct their investigation, if the police have to come and liberate the items, it's going to be a different matter.
In other news, should the ban on the harvesting of marine turtles be lifted? It's a question we posed to fishermen and other residents on the island. Tonight, a local conservationist is also chiming in on the topic, saying that while the turtle population has grown since the ban was put into effect, the law should remain as is. Raven Davis reports.
I think the harvesting of turtle meat is part of Bahamian culture.
Here on Grand Bahama, you may know it as hush hush or even question mark. It's the meat of turtles prepared for consumption. And if you talk to locals on the island, they'd be sure to tell you it's a Bahamian delicacy. Back in September of 2009, though, a ban was placed on the harvesting of marine turtles to preserve them. But today, local fishermen are expressing that they support a partial lifting of that ban.
We have a very heavy population of turtle. When you come to turtle, hawksbill, loggerhead, on the eastern end of the island. I've seen it. I think Bahamians should be allowed to eat turtle and can catch it for their own consumption because it's a delicacy here on our island.
You should be free to dive turtle if you're going to eat it. But if you're just going to get it and store it in your yard for like 2-3 days, suffering, I think it's wrong.
They say there's no apparent need for fishermen to sell turtle meat on a large scale, but contend that legislators should take a second look at the law.
I agree it should not be commercialized where turtle is put on the menu at restaurants or sold commercially. I'm against that, but I would support because of the vast increase in the population of green turtles.
It's just the way that you kill the turtle, or like in any creature you do. If you go to shoot a boar, you would like to kill them in a private sector with no one sees. Do everything within a coordinate, you understand, and a fashionable way. So I would do with the turtle, and I would eat turtle too. I like it too.
But there are some Grand Bahama residents who disagree.
And we need the Bahamas because we need some kind of entertainment for the tourists when they come to Bahamas. And usually when they see the turtle at the national park, it's be very interesting for them.
There's plenty of seafood. You can still eat conch, snapper. You know, you don't need to kill turtles for any specific reason.
Now, September 1 will mark 14 years since a ban was placed on the harvesting of marine turtles. Marine biologist Gail Woon says while the turtle population has seen an increase, she doesn't quite agree with the lifting of that ban.
That opens a possibility for people to do the wrong thing. So what I think if you did that, you would open it up to where you would start to see it on the menus in restaurants, and that market would become open.
Back in 2020, the Bahamas Commercial Fisheries Alliance backed the former Deputy Prime Minister's comments that sharks and turtles were becoming a nuisance to local fishermen. Woon says she understands the plight of those fishermen, but as a conservationist is standing firm on her stance.
If enough fishermen were able to lobby the minister or the Ministry of Fisheries, they could possibly get some, a change in the legislation so that people could have enough turtles for personal consumption.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
In news from police, officers at the Criminal Investigations Department on Grand Bahama are searching for Timothy Terrell Russell, alias Marcus Russell, wanted in connection with stealing. The 32-year-old is a resident of the Hunters subdivision. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 175 pounds, thin build. Anyone spotting him should contact Central Police Station at 350-3138, the National Crime Prevention Office at 302-8430 or 911. And when we come back, an update on the West Grand Bahama Complex, that story and more, including the latest in sports when the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, returns.
You asked for it, you've got it. A new plant nursery, fully loaded with everything you need and extended hours. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Kelville and Children's Store downtown now has a selection of girls' school shoes, 25% off, backpacks, lunchbox, underwear, school socks, and much, much more.
If you're a bystander and you witness a vehicle accident involving a passenger, a power pole, and a downed power line, do not approach the accident scene. Stay in your car and call 919 for emergency medical assistance. Then call GB Power at 352-8411 so that they can disconnect the electricity from the accident site. Though persons may want to help, it's important to keep everyone away from the electrical equipment or from fallen wires. Rescue can only be attempted by a person trained to use special live line tools. If possible, talk to the passengers in the vehicle by yelling out. Encourage the passengers to avoid touching the car frame and not to move until help arrives. This message was brought to you by the Grand Bahama Power Company, reminding you that if it's down, it's dangerous.
It's ATIS Company Limited's 4th annual back-to-school drive-through giveaway from noon until 6 p.m. Free hot dogs, hamburgers, soft drinks, games for the kids, free backpacks and school items while supplies last. Number 3 Thackeray Street, Queens Highway.
Container 4 pilot. Good morning again.
I compared to valet parking. Throw us the keys and tell us to drive it into the port.
Just being able to operate, not in the operator's chair, was a big difference for us.
We worked very closely with the harbor. It starts there and it ends here. It is a male-dominated industry, and doors have opened up for me and most of the women here because of the opportunity.
These are one of the machines that we maintain, make sure that it's safe for our people. This is what we do. This is our bread and butter.
Our team meets every challenge head on. I've just loved seeing and being a part of the growth and the development of our team and Team Freeport.
The Insight on Hutchinson Ports, airing August 28th at 8:30 p.m. right here on the ZNS Network.
King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your number 1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
And welcome back. The site of the West Grand Bahama Government Complex is the future home of a number of government complexes, or agencies rather. The building structure, standing tall, polished and furnished, seems to be completed and ready, but the opening date is still unknown. After the passage of Hurricane Dorian in 2019, construction was stalled and later resumed in 2022 through a $9 million funding arrangement with Cygnus Capital Group. Residents are eagerly awaiting the opening of the complex. Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama, the Honorable Obi Vilshcombe, is giving this update.
We're just now completing a few matters. Hopefully it'll be soon be furnished, and we'll be able to begin the preparations to cause for the transference of the various ministries. We're just waiting for the directive to come from the Ministry of Public Service. As soon as we have that, then we'll be prepared to move on.
Now, the complex is 2 large buildings that will house government services, a courthouse, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Bahamas Department of Immigration, the Bahamas Customs Department, National Insurance Board, Department of Social Services, Road Traffic Department, Bahamas Passport Office, and other government agencies. Some government workers who reside in West Grand Bahama will no longer need to traverse to Freeport for work. However, the minister says that they are only waiting on direction from the Ministry of Works. And finally, in news, a rum from Grand Bahama has won the race to become the first Bahamian rum to ever be distributed in the UK. According to a press release with support from the British High Commission in the Bahamas, Bassett's rum, produced by Bahamas Distilling Company in Freeport, has secured a contract to be distributed across the UK by Chelsea Vintners, a prestigious British wine and spirit distributor. The good news was secured at an event at 67 Pall Mall, an exclusive wine and spirit trade-only club in central London. The final negotiations were conducted and hosted by Stephen Boone, the British High Commission's wine and spirits advisor, and James Med, director. Chelsea Vintners. Guests included representatives from the British Foreign Office, from the Bahamian High Commission in London, and from the Royal Navy, whose association with rum is well documented. It's now time for your check on sports with Shane Stubbs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Shane Stubbs, and welcome to Sports. We've got some updates for you in track and field from Team Bahamas at the World Athletics Championships. Let's take a look.
Topping sports, Anthony Strawn advancing through to the women's 200-meter semifinals over in Budapest after clocking the fourth fastest time of all the qualifiers in that event.
I've been really excited. I pulled out of the 100 meters just to do the 200.
She finished first ahead of the pack, taking the tape in that prelim with a time of 22.31 seconds.
I'm really excited about it. All in all, it's really well. I enjoyed it, and I hope to produce way faster times and hopefully make my first global finals.
She set a personal best of 22.15 seconds in the 200 meters back in May of this year. There's certainly anticipation for her to recreate that magic once again. Meanwhile, Devon Charlton would punch her ticket to the women's 100-meter hurdles finals. In a heat that featured the likes of Jamaica's Megan Tapper, the national record holder would run out of lane 4, and it would be a close one between she and the USA's Kendra Harrison in the end. Charlton will cross the line in second, clocking 12.49 seconds, automatically qualifying her for the final, which is set to take place tomorrow, August 24th. Also in sports, staying with track and field, world leader in the men's 400 meters, Stephen Gardner, announcing via social media that his season has come to an end. In his own words, the 2019 world champion would suffer a grade 1 sprain of the tendon extending into the knee. This would unfortunately force him to shut things down for the remainder of the season. The injury was sustained in the men's 400-meter semifinals at the 2023 World Athletics Championships. Also in this post, he was sure to thank the medical staff in Budapest, Team Bahamas, and his management team. We certainly wish the Olympic gold medalist a speedy recovery. And lastly in sports, the YMCA Commercial League unveiling their list of awards for this year's season. The Buckeye Oilers' Tremaine Ferguson was named the championship's most valuable player. Oilers coach Andrew Cat Williams was named the Coach of the Year. In other league awards, Ahmad Pratt of Polymers was a force to be reckoned with as he was named the league's MVP. The Oilers' Mikael Bethel was also a pest on defense all year and was named the Defensive Player of the Year. Ferguson, Bethel, and Pratt will also lead the list of the All-YMCA Commercial League team. Joining them were Trevor Bain of Polymers, Travis Wildgoose representing Pharmachem, Malik Smith of the UNEXO Dolphins, Pharmachem's Regis Cooper, Dane Russell of BM Insecticide, Clemente Martin representing the Oilers, and Antoine Bevins from the UNEXO Dolphins. Pharmachem's Harold Pinder was also the recipient of the Sportsmanship Award.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's your update in sports this evening. I'm Shane Stubbs, and as always, be safe and be great.
Bellevue Business Depot is offering a 20% off back-to-school sale on all school supplies. We've got all your back-to-school supplies. You name it, we've got it. Pens, pencils, composition books, rulers, glue, sharpeners, writing books, geometry sets, backpacks, and so much more. Get this, we also have 2024 diaries available. Shop at Bellevue Business Depot today, located on Queens Highway, Freeport.
Get your free gift with your $115 purchase going on now at Pandora in the Port Lacaya Marketplace.
Hair to Please Beauty Salon, located in the old Immigration Building downtown, is celebrating their 19th anniversary with a wigathon and Brazilian Remy sale now through September 2nd. For high quality 100% Remy hair, visit Hair to Please Beauty Salon or call 351-1962. Free gifts with every purchase.
Doctors Hospitals reimagine primary care. We've invested to improve our health system, ensuring that accessible, affordable, world-class clinical care is closer to you. Your relationship with a primary care provider shapes the foundation of your overall health. Our new, modern primary care facilities are where critical diagnosis and true personalized treatment begin. With locations in Freeport and 8 Mile Rock, we invite you to experience the Doctors Hospital difference. Book your next appointment at clinics.doctorshos.com.
1 in 6 men under the age of 60 will get it. 1 man in the Bahamas dies from it every 2 weeks. The Black diaspora has the highest incidence of it, and us too will be on the ZNS Health Zone to deal with it. Yes, prostate cancer. Don't miss this informative show on Tuesday, August 29th at 8 p.m. Have the following supplies on hand at the start of the hurricane season: A minimum 3-day supply of water, which provides 1 gallon of water per person per day. Minimum 3-day supply of non-perishable food items. Flashlights and extra batteries. A battery-powered radio to receive broadcasts that will keep you informed of the storm. A first aid kit. A 7-day supply of any prescribed medication. Don't be caught off guard this hurricane season. Be prepared.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Jewel Edwards is our Facebook friend of the day. We also wish you a happy birthday, and we want to say thanks for always watching. And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. On behalf of the entire news team here in the North, I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to stay tuned. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, alleged serial killer slayed. Preventing kids being exploited. LPIA boosts its travel experience. And in sports, Bahamians advance in Budapest. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Makushla Pinder, and this is the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for tuning in. There are strict limitations to having an abortion here in the Bahamas. As it stands, when a mother's life is at risk is the only reason. It's a thorny issue that now has the nation's leader entering the fray, having been questioned on the sidelines of a Met Cadet graduation. Lloyd Allen picks up the story from here.
The laws are on the books. Abortion is still a crime. Rape is still a crime. And carrying very hefty penalties.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, making it clear that abortion is not legal in the country. And while this might be the case, the Prime Minister is of the view that unfortunate circumstances in today's society, where some of the most heinous crimes are now being committed, might dictate a review of the law. And even if the law is amended, he believes it still comes down to a personal decision, one he advises should be made in consultation with the medical doctor.
I don't want to impose my views on a personal choice, but suffice it to say, I will support personal choice of anyone in respect to those matters.
Now, abortions has always been a polarizing issue in the Bahamas. However, statistics show that termination of pregnancies happens daily for one reason or the other. Some Bahamians, though, argue that the conversation should be revisited and laws amended to reflect the views of a modern society. The church is divided on the issue. On one side, the Christian Council opposes any form of abortion. On the other side, some local bishops have been vocal, expressing support for the procedure.
That's their choice. And that's their opinion, what they want to do with their life, because some people want to have kids and some people don't want to have kids.
It's still the same thing to me. It's still a child. You understand? And people out there who don't have kids would love to adopt them. If you don't want the child, put it up for adoption.
I think the lady should have a choice in if she want to keep the baby or not, because sometimes life be hard, so you don't want to strain her with too much stuff. Depends on the circumstance of the situation.
Yes, I believe she should have the abortion.
According to the Bahamas Penal Code, Article 315, quote, whoever intentionally and unlawfully causes abortion or miscarriage shall be liable to imprisonment for 10 years. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen. Makushla.
Well, thanks, Lloyd. Well, truth is, it happens way too often. Children in our country exploited in various forms. And with the opening of school just days away, law enforcement are on heightened alert of the potential dangers children face and advice to parents on how to help keep them safe. Corvell Pyfrom has that story.
Cases of exploited children appear rampant, matters of a sexual nature even more so. The RBPF unit tasked with managing these investigations is the Sexual Offenses Unit, headed by longtime officer ASP Altita Bowles. They see cases of sexual abuse against children across a wide spectrum, and so ASP Bowles says dealing with these cases have to be examined and investigated in a particular manner and with additional resources.
And we have a lot of professionals involved, from our psychologists to our specialist doctors. And our team here, we allowed a senior investigator to deal with matters like this.
Ascertaining information from children in these matters can at times prove difficult. The senior officer explains that the first step in breaking down the wall that many of these victims have built up is building rapport and then gaining their trust.
So we have to build a rapport and put them in an environment where they're comfortable to share information with us and to ensure them that what occurred won't happen again, and that we will do our best to ensure their safety.
She reminds parents and guardians of children found to be abused to not conceal this information, choosing instead to deal with these incidents as private matters.
And because we know at times adults will settle that situation amongst themselves, and the law says that cannot happen. So social services is the advocate for our children in the Bahamas, and we utilize them when parents don't come forward or parents fail to report abuse of a child.
Sadly, for many children, their biggest threat and danger, ASP Bowles says, can sometimes exist in their very own home.
We have instances where the perpetrator who have harmed the victim was really upset that now, hey, I've gotten this person in trouble, not what they have done to them.
Her advice to parents and guardians ahead of the opening of school is to monitor what your children are doing, particularly on social media. Get to know who their friends are, ASP Bowles says, something that is particularly concerning to her, and is perhaps something many of us have seen. School-age children walking to and from school alone at unseemly hours. This, ASP Bowles warns, is a danger waiting to happen.
I think, well, I don't think, I know we should have an adult with them. When we leave our children vulnerable for things to happen, things will happen. Like I said, sex crime to me is a crime of opportunity, and that is an opportunity for them to take advantage of a child, because the child is by themselves at a time when there's hardly no one on the street.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corvell Pyfrom.
Well, meantime, founder of Rise Bahamas and child protection advocate Ternille Burrows is reiterating the call for more to be done to address reported cases of sexual assaults against women and girls.
It's now time for those of us who are armed with the knowledge and the passion to see child protection become a priority, to do whatever it takes. So this is my version of whatever it takes to make child protection a national priority in this country.
Meantime, leading females throughout the Commonwealth emerging from 2 days of discussions that will pave the way for the agenda heading into October 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. Our Jimenita Swain is on Paradise Island with a report on what came out of those talks. Jimenita?
Good evening, Makushla, and good evening, Bahamas. We're coming to you live from the Atlantis Resort, where for the last 3 days, the 13th Commonwealth Women's Affairs Ministers meetings have been taking place. We're here just waiting for the closing sessions that are scheduled to take place any moment now. But just to get an idea of some of the discussions that has been taking place, we are here with Mr. Arif Zaman, who is one of the directors, and he is a team of 3 members who've been very intricate in some of the discussions that have been taking place. So welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, and tell us a little bit about some of the discussions that you have been, I guess, focused in to some degree.
Well, welcome back to the Bahamas. I have been back before, but I'm here with my colleagues, Frida Merkelis, the chair of the Commonwealth Business Women's Network from Australia, and from Kenya, Rosemary Gituma. And we've come here as part of a delegation with a number of other accredited organizations. Who are those folks? You know, the Commonwealth Games, right? So they're one of the accredited organizations, but there are many others. We had a Commonwealth Trade Union this group here, Sorotmis International, 60,000 women across 118 countries, and many others. So the reason we're here is to work with our governments that are there. Remember, we pay their salaries, yeah? So the people are here in the room as well, and we're saying to them, let's get focused, let's get moving on these areas. Gender equality is important. We've broken it down into these 4 priority areas: women's economic empowerment, women in leadership, gender and climate change, and violence against women. And you know something, when you share experiences, you realize the problems may be mirrored in other countries, but something else is also mirrored, the solutions. And the solutions come from conversations. You listen to each other, you hear each other, and you say the aha, that could work here, or maybe what I'm doing could work there. And that's what we've been seeing this week, time and time again. And that was very powerful.
Well, thank you so much for your discussions, and I'm sure they were very fruitful. Like I said, Makushla, we're just waiting for the closing session to take place any moment now. But for now, I'm Jimenita Sween at the Atlantis Resort. Back to you in studio.
Well, thanks, Jimenita. From the police tonight, one last evening, and again this morning. 8 months into the year, and the homicide count inches closer to 70. The latest victim, an alleged serial killer, out on bail. Carla Palmer tells us the story of what officials lament appears to be a trend.
Spot Shotter alerted police to gunshots in the Carmichael Road area around 9:30 Wednesday morning. And Chief Superintendent of Police in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department, Michael Johnson, tells what they found once on location at Sunset Drive off Alexandria Boulevard.
On our arrival, we discovered the lifeless body of a black male who appears to be in his early 30s. With multiple gunshot wounds about the body.
Having conducted some 3 hours of initial investigations, collecting bags of suspected evidence, and speaking with residents home at the time, including family members just feet away from where the shooting took place, Johnson says the victim is well known to police. A victim described as an alleged prolific killer.
He is being electronically monitored and is on bail for 4 murders. He is as recent as 2018. He has been charged with several other serious offenses, which he is also on bail for other than the murders.
Police say the victim lived several houses down right from this area where he was killed. They say he was driving this black Nissan March at the time when assailants reportedly followed him and gunned him down.
We appeal to members of this community. We're looking for a small silver Japanese type vehicle, which we believe the suspects were in. As he exited his vehicle, they approached him and opened fire on him, shooting him multiple times, like I said.
Police did not give a definitive answer, but reports the murder count in excess of 70 to date.
Well, again, these individuals, they have rights, and they are entitled to bail, but I would advise them to just try to remain invisible. Keep out of the public from being seen, because they eventually become targets. I caution persons who hang with these individuals to be very careful, because they are targets.
It was also hard to not notice the presence of the police canine unit on scene.
We are checking this area for any other contraband, firearm, drugs, just to make sure that we cover all bases.
If you have any information that can help police solve this latest homicide, you're being asked to call 502-9991, 2 or 3, or call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 328-TIPS. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Carla Palmer.
Still to come, a rosy outlook for the national flag carrier. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Focall Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
Has changed over the past 60 years. But at Commonwealth Bank, our mission to build lifelong relationships with our clients remains the same. Our customers are more than just a number. Our customers are our family, and together we create banking solutions that fit your unique needs. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
I always find new ways to connect. Even with those friends that are very, very far away. It doesn't matter who you are. What matters is sharing. Because sharing a bucket with friends tastes finger-licking good.
We are New Life Natural Company Limited, and we have actually been in the community for now 13 years, serving in the health field. Our diets is probably one of the most poorest diets actually in the Caribbean, and we are really low in the world. As a result of our diet, we are actually inheriting all of these different diseases. So we need to kind of like shift the way how we eat and shift it to eating more healthier food. So we at New Life here, we are trying to change the paradigms. We are actually introducing tasty, healthy options. And so hopefully this SPDC initiative will actually create the awareness, help us to have an understanding of what we are doing, why we are doing it, and help us to begin to shift this paradigm of proper eating, proper dieting, and proper fitness. So our motto is eat well, be well, and let your food be your medicine.
For more information about the Fitness and Wellness Initiative, contact the SPDC at 461-7232.
You can find it all at Builders Mall. From cement, lumber, block, plumbing, and electrical, to paint, lights, vanities, and tiles. Not to mention all the tools you could possibly need to get the job done. Say if you're starting a major project, adding the finishing touches, or just doing some repair or rental work around the house. FYP, the Paint Center, and Tile King can help. Stop by or call 601-8453. Located 69 Wolf Road, Nassau. You can find it all at Builders Mall. Building, painting, and tiling, the Bahamas.
Chef Boyardee and Libby's Vienna Sausages are giving you a chance to win cash prizes up to $1,000. Buy Chef Boyardee and Libby's. Take your receipt to Pritchard's on Robinson Road and enter today.
The Prime Minister following through with a promise to transition more casual workers into permanent roles. Our Azure Quant has the story.
Prime Minister, the Honourable Philip Davis's proactive push to ensuring that casual workers here at the Freeport Container Port received permanent status has now yielded significant positive results. This according to the nation's leader, who says the general manager has now confirmed that over 50% of casual workers are now permanent employees.
I am rather pleased with the Hudson Whampoa, the container port in particular.
Disclosing on the initial conversation back in January, Prime Minister Davis says he sat with the general manager, where at the time they had about 75 casual workers. According to the nation's leader, Senator Kirkland Russell advised to him that this was one of the reasons Grand Bahama has seen no growth.
Where an employee is unable to go to a bank, for example, to borrow funds to build a home, it stunts that employee's growth. And the economy grows with its citizens and its people. And if employees cannot grow, the community will not grow.
PM Davis now revealing that the proportion of casual workers had decreased substantially, according to FCP's general manager.
He did not quite understand the concept of what I was saying to him, because I think he'd only been appointed a year or so. And he just met what was going on, and he thought that was the order of the day. Well, I indicated to him that that was not an order that I embrace. And he came back to about, I think it was just about the first week of May, to indicate that he has reversed that situation where they had 75% casual workers, where they were now up to 65% permanent workers.
Back in January, more than a dozen employees were laid off, and just 24 hours later, the Prime Minister stepped in, having the decision reversed, and the FCP promising to reduce the number of casual workers. PM Davis also sending a resounding call to businesses across Grand Bahama to prioritize transitioning casual workers into permanent roles.
It's not good corporate citizenry to employ hundreds of persons and call them casual workers and treat them as casual workers, because you're not looking out for the common good. you're looking out for the bottom line.
Prime Minister Davis also underscoring the importance of collective efforts to create a more equitable labor environment to enhance the quality of workers' life and paves the way for long-term economic growth. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Adra Quant.
Well, the Department of Labor is hoping to get more Bahamians employed and further drive down the 8.8% unemployment rate. And to do so, the department started a registration drive, this time to register Bahamian professionals of all categories into the Skills Bank.
We want to encourage all professionals in various fields, plumbers, carpenters, skilled carpenters, welders, mechanics, web developers, compliance officers. These are some of the vacancies that are available, and employees are seeking non-Bahamians to fill this position. The best way for us to ensure that Bahamians get these jobs is if Bahamians come and register with us. So on this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., we're having what we call an open house at our Carmichael Road Department of Labor headquarters.
Labor Director Robert Farquharson says from the 2022 to 2023 period, the department issued more than 12,000 labor certificates to foreign workers. He believes in 40% of those cases, they were positions Bahamians could have filled. The Skills Bank has already registered more than 100,000 people. And while not all Bahamians, Farquharson notes that if officials know of skilled Bahamians, they can avoid issuing labor certificates.
If a foreigner applies for a position and we do not have Bahamians who are registered, we have to prove that application. We have to prove that work permit. If we have Bahamian professionals who are registered us, we can turn more of these applications down to ensure that Bahamians have a better opportunity to find gainful and rewarding employment. I'm talking about employment that pays a significant amount of income. We can only do that if you help us and register.
A facelift, so to speak, to traveling through the Lynden Pindling International Airport. Nassau Airport Development Company officials believe the changes and upgrades are positively impacting all areas of the country's main travel hub. And as Corval Pyfrom tells us, LPIA is looking to be more than just an airport, but an experience.
Passengers and users of the Lynden Pindling International Airport are perhaps finding it a more welcoming, people-friendly place to be. If so, that's not by small coincidence. Nassau Airport Development Company VP of Operations Jonathan Hanna says the company and its airport partners have undertaken a number of measures to make it that way.
All of our airport partners have been doing a great job in staffing up and working as efficiently as possible to move persons along. That doesn't mean that from time to time we don't get some extended wait times, but that's across the entire industry, right?
LPIA joins 180 airports in 30 countries to become a part of the Sunflower Lanyard program. This program helps make the travel experience a lot easier for passengers and customers with both visible or non-visible disabilities. The lanyards given to these customers is recognized globally.
We provide a free sunflower lanyard to persons once they let us know that they would like one. And what they would do then is, as they go through the airport process, all of the airport workers are trained to recognize the lanyard and offer additional time and assistance as needed.
Hannah says the busy summer travel period has started winding down, but with travel trends becoming increasingly unpredictable, a few rules of thumb still apply. Traveling internationally, Hannah says, pack time and patience and do as much of the pre-check-in procedures online.
So for us, our peak airport time is between about 11 and 3. So if they have some flexibility in their travel, traveling before 11 a.m. or traveling after 3 p.m. And then obviously on a Tuesday, Wednesday when things are slower versus a Saturday, Sunday when the airport is a lot busier. And, we have a beautiful airport. We have a number of concessions upstairs that persons can enjoy as they wait for their flight. And so we just want to make sure we give persons enough time to get through the various airport processes on any given day.
Now, airport officials can't promise you that it will be complete smooth sailing. but it's almost a guarantee that if you implore some of their simple advice, like arriving at the airport 3.5 hours ahead of international flights or using the digital platform for online check-in, you will greatly reduce your chance of experiencing bumps along the way before taking to the friendly skies. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
Well, meantime, Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, is optimistic about the future of the national flag carrier, even as he acknowledges Bahamas Air has and continues to have its challenges. However, he says it's something they're working on addressing through partnership.
Bahamas Air really is on the path for success. If we are able to restructure a few things, get some new equipment, they ought to be really riding the bonanza of tourism right now. And people are calling me every day wanting to know if I can do anything to get them a seat on Bahamas Air, and I simply can't. They're running very heavy loads. They're doing extremely well with some financial restructuring, which we will do, with some technical support, which we will provide really shortly from Qatar Airways.
Marcellus Hall joins us in studio with a check on what's coming up in sports. Marcellus?
Coming up in sports, we're the city will check in on our Bahamian athletes at the World Championships, giving you all the details on how they're doing. That's all ahead in sports.
This portion of the news is brought to you by the ZNS New College Freshman Giveaway. For more information, go to www.znsbahamas.com/giveaways.
Are you looking for the right window and door to accentuate your beautiful home? Well, Coral Windows Bahamas is the ideal place for you. With 20 years of experience, we specialize in creating that perfect fit and that exquisite look. All of our products are custom made, impact resistant, and come with a 5-year warranty. Installation is included. We also specialize in shower enclosures and glass railings. Visit coralwindowsbahamas.com or call 352-6556 or 7.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
First we plan, then we innovate, then we build. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, we are committed to quality, to safety, and to service. We know that the road you take is just as important as your final destination. At Bahamas Striping Group of Companies, it is our job to make sure the road and the ride are as smooth as possible. From striping roads to building them, we are the right choice, the trusted choice, the only choice to help you build your tomorrow.
Tourism today. Bahamas tourism today.
Love, sun, sand, and sea are always on display in the islands of the Bahamas. The Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, along with the Bridal Association, proudly presents the much-anticipated annual Come for the Romance Symposium. The 4-day symposium will take place August 29th through September 4th, 2023 at the Atlantis Resort.
We are expecting a host of vendors, travel advisors from the United States, from the UK, and from Canada, and it's going to be an event to remember. The aim for the Come for the Romance event is to create a platform for event planners, event officiants, for just allied partners and allied vendors to have a space to get together, to learn more about the romance event industry and to flourish.
The islands of the Bahamas is a popular wedding and honeymoon destination that spectators will explore with a special family island component. The symposium will also feature a panel discussion, trade shows, and hotel tours throughout the islands of the Bahamas.
The travel advisors that are visiting from the United States, UK, and Canada will have a down-home Bahamian experience. They're going to be visiting Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, and Exuma, conducting site inspections. So this is where they will have the opportunity to see what the Bahamas has to offer, so that when they plan their events here, they know exactly how it looks, how it feels, what to expect, and how to plan their events in the Bahamas.
For more information, visit BahamasOrBridalAssociation.com. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
You choose to save when you choose to shop at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. So cheesy macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4 ounce, 89 cents. Amerlanda milk, 1 liter, $1.59. Hillendale eggs, extra large, 1 dozen, $1.89. Sweet Gala apples, 3 for $1.09. Chicken drumsticks, 89 cents per pound. Donate your change to help feed the Humane Society animals at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
My mommy made sure that I was vaccinated because she loves me.
Getting our precious little ones vaccinated protects them from so many diseases like polio, measles, and whooping cough. Vaccines are safe and effective. Immunizations can prevent illnesses and even death. Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
As efforts continue to get schools in order, attention's being given to the issue of crime and safety on school campuses across the country. National Security Minister Wayne Munro says there's a program already in place to address safety issues, including a ramped-up presence of police officers, even though police officers have been redeployed to school campuses since last year.
Commissioner of Police advises me that we have 2 trainers from the U.S. in country or coming to country to further upgrade the competencies of our school resource officers, and he has also increased the officers deployed to that unit. And so we are very serious about providing a safe place for children to learn.
All in more positive news, the 2024 graduating class of the C.V. Bethel Senior High School is going to have to bring it all big time if they plan to keep up with the classes of 2022 and 2023's stellar academic performance and achievement. Those graduating classes combined earned more than $3 million in scholarships. Principal Harcourt McCoy says the students excelled in academics, agriculture, and fine arts. Their success, the embodiment of the school's mantra.
One of our students was able to apply to 25 schools and was accepted to 25 schools. Her scholarship total alone was some $311,000, with a multiplicity of students in the C.V. Bethel band having multiple offers from different schools, and basically making the best choice for the most amount of money offered to them.
Nearly 300 students made up C.V. Bethel's last graduating class. McCoy admits the female students outpaced their male counterparts, but maintains the males were nonetheless impressive.
What we've been able to accomplish here at C.V. Bethel is the tapping into what they like. And because the band is so dynamic, there's so many different instruments, percussionists, different members of the band and section leaders, we've been able to use that to tap into the boys to be able to get a balanced amount of scholarships.
Meantime, a proud moment Tuesday night for 9 recipients, the first participants of the Niccolo P. Small Meteorology Cadet Program, organized by the Ministry of Transport and Housing. The participants ranging in ages 14 and 25. Among those joining in the celebration, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis.
Whether you are just starting high school or you're almost done with university, look for opportunities to turn your talents into action. Decide that you won't leave the hard work to others, because using your gifts in pursuit of something bigger than you is the best path to personal fulfillment and to national excellence for all. You are pioneers walking in the footsteps of the first Bahamian director of meteorology, Nicolo P. Small. Whatever path you choose, I hope that the knowledge and skills you have learned through this program will be an ongoing source of inspiration.
Top performers of the program also sharing their excitement about the experience and their plans moving forward, which include accompanying the Prime Minister and his team to the upcoming COP28.
For me, this is a great accomplishment. It has been almost a summation in the years that I have been interested in meteorology, and so this is just the highlights of my evening, receiving this award, and I'm so grateful that they believed in me.
Me and Prime Minister say we going to Dubai, so but honestly, I do want to seek a career in the meteorology, so I'm going to get that sorted out now and, see where that takes me.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
Have you ever purchased a defective item and was denied an exchange or cash refund? Contact the Consumer Protection Commission at 393-7795-8 or our 24-hour complaints hotline at 357-7898 and let us help your voice be heard.
Hey, get up, stand up. Stand up for your right.
Dreaming of the perfect summer getaway? Apply for a debt consolidation or personal loan to win an airline ticket to Paris, Miami, or New York. Win up to $2,500 in cash and more. For details, call 356-7764 for Nassau, 602-6811 for Freeport, 823-4374 for Abaco.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station, open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Vaccines protect those we love the most, our children and our grandchildren. I vaccinated my children to protect them. Getting your child immunized can protect them against diseases like polio, measles, whooping cough, and others. So protect your child today by getting them immunized. My grandchildren are vaccinated. You should do the same. Vaccinate your children and your grandchildren and make sure they are safe.
Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Carey's Fabrics and Uniform Store wants to get you ready for back to school. Find ready-made uniforms and uniform fabrics for all schools in the Bahamas. Carey's also sells skirts, blouses, shirts, jumpers, boys' shorts, and pants. You can even have your uniform skirts custom made. Also find school bags, school supplies, socks, and underwear. That's Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street. Call 393-0758.
A man grateful to be alive tonight after a U.S. Coast Guard crew rescued him from Key Sal between Florida and the Bahamas. A release notes that the man fired flares from his disabled sailboat after being stranded on the uninhabited island for 3 days. The U.S. Coast Guard crew then dropped food, water, and a radio to establish communication. The man was transferred in good health to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. U.S. Coast Guard officials say this case is a perfect example of why proper safety equipment should be on a vessel. Well, telephone services restored to customers in Inagua, Mayaguana, and Ragged Island. PTC providing this update today and apologizing for the inconvenience caused over the past 2 days. Meantime, Live also worked around the clock with its vendor to get its customers back online. The frustrated customers are now quite happy that their service has been restored. Stay tuned. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report.
You choose to save when you choose to shop at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. So cheesy macaroni and cheese, 7 1/4 ounce, 89 cents. Amerlanda milk, 1 liter, $1.59. Hillendale eggs, extra large, 1 dozen, $1.89. Sweet Gala apples, 3 for $1.09. Chicken drumsticks, 89 cents per pound. Donate your change to help feed the Humane Society animals at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
Hey, Mom, can you look after Kaylee?
Sorry, I'll be out for a while doing my home and car insurance.
What? You know there's a newer way, right?
A new way?
Where have you been? Look, go to newerinsurance.com, log in, get your quote, buy your insurance, done. You can even use it to manage a claim.
Oh? By the way, it's not newer. It's NUA. Where's she been?
Do it anyway with NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers.
Vibrant heart of the Bahamas, a common loftier goal unites us all. A place where love and unity thrive, where world-class technology is accessible and affordable, connecting every generation. We believe in our heritage and the boundless potential that lies within us. We believe in Bahamians.
With the help of our authorized financial institutions, or AFIs, using sand dollars is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Step 1. Identify your preferred AFI by browsing their websites or contacting them directly. Step 2. Download the free mobile application from Google Play or the Apple Store and then register for a Sand Dollar account. Step 3. Load money onto your mobile app and begin sending and receiving sand dollars or purchasing and selling goods and services.
We are pleased to be
your central bank approved
digital wallet providers. It does not matter
which of us you choose.
You can pay for goods and services
wherever Sand Dollar is accepted.
We are all in this together.
Visit sanddollar.bs for more information.
My mom Mommy made sure that I was vaccinated because she loves me.
Getting our precious little ones vaccinated protects them from so many diseases like polio, measles, and whooping cough. Vaccines are safe and effective. Immunizations can prevent illnesses and even death. Vaccines are essential for new and returning students. As you begin back-to-school preparations, ensure that your children's vaccinations are up to date. All vaccines are available at all public health clinics. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
ZNEST Total Sports is brought to you by the Bahamas Striping Group of Companies. Tune into coverage of the World Athletics Championship on the ZNEST Television Network from August 19th through the 27th and watch all the action live from Budapest, Hungary.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Well, welcome to your ZNS Total Sports Check here on a Hump Day Wednesday, everybody. Track and field action continuing in Budapest, Hungary, as the World Championships are continuing. A lot more Bahamians on track. Let's keep you up to speed on what they're doing as far as the action is concerned. More Bahamians on the track today at the World Track and Field Championships in Budapest, Hungary. Antonique Strawn looking to advance in the women's 200 meters. Strawn in lane 8. She would get off to a good start, looking strong through the first 50 meters. Coming into the straightaway, it would be Antonique getting the job done. She wins in 22.31 seconds. Hurdler Devon Charlton back on the track, running in the semis of the 100-meter hurdles. Charlton also looking to advance to the finals. She would get the job done here, finishing second once again behind American Kendra Harrison in 12.49 seconds. Harrison was first in 12.33. Kambuji of Switzerland was third in 12.50. And Rema Otabar, in her first World Championship debut in the women's javelin, had a best throw of 175 feet 11 inches. She finishes 33rd overall. That was not good enough to advance to the final. Charisma Taylor, women's triple jump, had a best jump of 13.51, right around 44 feet 3 inches. Unfortunately, doesn't advance to the final there. Triathlon action coming to the capital this weekend. Amajal Knowles has the details.
Over 200 athletes across 10 countries set to descend upon the capital this weekend for the Carifta Triathlon and Aquathon Championships taking place at Goodman's Bay. Team Bahamas getting in some last-minute practice this weekend over at Jaws Beach. We caught up with the man set to lead the 242 into battle.
Practice has been a little bit tough in terms of timing, and the weather condition hasn't been the best, but we have been doing the most out of it, and the kids are showing good improvement. The kids are showing good results. I like the numbers. You know, triathlon is not like any other sport. You have 3 different sports at the same time, so you have to swim, bike, and run, so you have to practice each of them individually, but at the same time you have to be able to put them back together.
Now, with the event being held on home soil, the head coach on if there's any pressure on the young athletes.
I'm going to be honest with you. Being home is a little bit, I'm not going to lie, always being home, always put a little bit of extra pressure because you want them to excel and you want them to do well. But at the end of the day, I think that we have been practicing over and over and over everything on most of the practice. So for them, it's going to be just like another, practice day. Just they're going to be ready for push harder.
Jason Cates, one of the triathletes set to compete, has high expectations for himself and the team.
The team's going to do very good. We definitely have some medal contenders on the team. I think that I'm going to place pretty well, but I'm trying to keep my expectations reasonable while still being able to push myself hard.
Again, the Carifta Triathlon and Aquathon will get underway on Saturday, but the festivities will get underway on Friday with an opening ceremony. For ZNS Sports, I'm Almajal Knowles.
And from Major League Baseball, Jazz Chisholm, 2 for 4 at the plate. That helped the Marlins pick up a nice win, 3-0 over the San Diego Padres. Marlins improved to 65-62. They're third in the National League East. 2 squads meeting up again this afternoon. And there it is. Your
Are you looking for the right window and door to accentuate your beautiful home? Well, Coral Windows Bahamas is the ideal place for you. With 20 years of experience, we specialize in creating that perfect fit and that exquisite look. All of our products are custom made, impact resistant, and come with a 5-year warranty. Installation is included. We also specialize in shower enclosures and glass railings. Visit coralwindowsbahamas.com or call 352-6556 or 7.
The most important thing in life is family. And whenever you need reliable advice, you look to the people you know you can trust. At J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers, we earn our clients' trust every day. Whether it's home, motor, travel, or commercial insurance, we've got you covered. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
In 1953, the United States began using a female name for storms. And by 1978, both male and female names were used to identify northern Pacific storms. This was then adopted in 1979 for storms in the Atlantic Basin. The National Hurricane Center does not control the naming of tropical storms. Instead, there is a strict procedure established by the World Meteorological Organization for Atlantic hurricanes. There is a list of male and female names which are used on a 6-year rotation. The only time that there is a change is if the storm is so deadly or costly that the future use of its name on a different storm would be inappropriate. These are the names of storms for the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season: Arlene, Brett, Cindy, Dawn, Emily, Franklin, Gert, Harold, Idalia, Jose, Katia, Lee, Margot, Nigel, Ophelia, Philippe, Rena, Sean, Tammy, Vince, Whitney. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the National Emergency Management Agency.
What does disability look like? In a busy airport terminal? At the check-in counter? At security checkpoints? Or even in baggage claim? Passengers with hidden disabilities often go unnoticed. Globally, 1 in 7 persons have some form of a disability. 80% of those disabilities are non-visible. In an airport environment, workers are often unaware of hidden physical, mental, or neurological disabilities that some passengers live with. This can lead to frustration and a less than ideal travel experience. So, how do we make the invisible more visible? At LPIA, we've implemented the Sunflower Lanyard program. The lanyards are visual cues for airport workers to immediately identify passengers who might need additional assistance. NAD is teaming up with the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and key stakeholders at LPIA to launch the internationally recognized initiative. We're joining more than 180 airports and 26 countries already in the program. NAD is the first organization in the Bahamas to recognize the Sunflower Initiative. It's a way to show our continued commitment to making LPIA a safe, welcoming, and inclusive airport for all. Passengers needing to secure a free sunflower lanyard can email sunflower@nas.bs or call 1242-397-8600. For more information, visit www.nassauLPIA.com.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, we have a few clouds this evening. Temperature 85 degrees, relative humidity 71%. We have east-northeast winds at 9 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,011.3 millibars. That's 29.86 inches. And your temperatures around the Family Palace this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 84 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Grand Key, and Marshall, Babaco. The Berry Islands, 85. Alisan, Bimini, also at 85 degrees. 84 in Harbor Island, Roxanne, Eleuthera, 85, Black Point, Exuma, and Kemp Space, St. Andros, also reporting 85 degrees. We pick up 84 in Fresh Creek, Central Andros. Artistan, Cat Island, San Salvador, Parim Key, and Georgetown, Exuma at 85 degrees. 85s again in Rygat Island, Clarence Sound, Long Island, and the Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Miguana, 83, Acklands, 83, Matthew Town, Niagara, 81, Turks and Caicos Islands under some heavy cloud cover at 80 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Towel King, and the Pink Setter in the Northwest and Central Islands tonight through Thursday. Those winds are going to be northeast at 10 to 15 knots, wave heights down 2 to 4 feet. Low tide, that will occur at 7:38 tonight, with another low tide at 7:37 tomorrow morning. Now for the southeast bombers through Thursday, northerly winds 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. And as we take you into Friday for the Northwest and Central Islands, those winds will become light and variable with very flat seas, 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. Low tide on Friday takes place at 8:35 in the morning, with a high tide at 3:14 in the afternoon. For the southeast bombers, no change there. We continue with that northeast wind at 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. That's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. Now we take you to the tropics, and we have Tropical Storm Franklin at 5 o'clock this afternoon. It was some 120 miles to the south-southeast of the Turks and Caicos Islands, now just moving off the north coast of Hispaniola, and it's moving towards the north-northeast at some 13 miles per hour. So it has made that turn towards the north-northeast, which is very good, because that means it will be pulling away from these islands, moving well to the east of the Turks and Caicos Islands later tonight and during the early morning hours. Now, satellite picture, you can see the heavy showers and thunderstorms associated with this system right on the eastern tip of Hispaniola, and that's well to the east of the Turks and Caicos Islands. But we do have some feeder bands working their way across the southeast bomber. So Inagua, Matthew Town, Inagua, and Maguana, they will be in the mix in terms of occasional showers and thunderstorms tonight. Turks and Caicos Island rainfall will be a major factor there tonight, but that system will move very rapidly out of the area come late tomorrow. Our forecast for tonight right here in the capital, beautiful weather conditions, clear and warm conditions with your low temperature around 81 degrees. And tomorrow we're looking at partly sunny with a thunderstorm in spot, and that's due to the light winds and warm temperatures, 89 degrees for your high temperature. And the extended weather forecast, isolated showers and thunderstorms, particularly in the afternoon right through Friday. Saturday looks a lot better with more drier conditions, but we get some more isolated stuff come back into the forecast on Sunday. But just before I leave, congratulations to Bishop V.G. Clark and his wife, Elder Beverly Clark. Well, they celebrate 55 years of marital bliss. May the good Lord continue to bless that union. Makisha?
Well, thanks, Basil, and that does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the Sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
You see on this television station is governed by IRCA's Code of Practice for Content Regulation. The Code of Practice covers matters relating to program content that are of concern to the community, such as local content,